My name is Oscar Guardiola Rivera. I'm a Colombian author and I teach at Birkbeck School of Law. One of the aims of the coup d'etat that happened in Chile in 1973 was to make sure that future generations of Chileans would never again dare to dream about a real change. And one of the most beautiful phenomena which I describe in the book, and this is perhaps the reason why I did it, was to see the last very young generation of Chilean students and activists going back to the streets, reclaiming their right to decide for themselves for a better future, but also reclaiming the interrupted legacy of those years. So in a way, the book proves that the sort of power which is very often exercised by those who think of themselves as the most powerful and think of themselves as able to kind of pull the levers of history, in fact, it never works. It never works entirely. Ideas are never totally forgotten. Interrupted processes of change are recovered, and history is on the move back again. And it is very interesting that this is happening in today's Chile, a country which is often portrayed as the poster boy of neoliberalism and of this sort of anti-politics of purely representational politics. So here you see those young students which are in fact part of the chain of global protests which have begun since at least 2009. And I would like to think that there we have once again the possibility of dreaming an alternative form of not only local but global politics. I have been involved with Beyond Borders for 4 years now. There are at least two reasons why this festival is so important and what happens here. The first one has to do with the fact that this is probably the only festival which combines literature and thought with human rights and the tremendous potential of human rights to resolve conflict and go beyond borders, take us all beyond the limitations of the present. That is incredibly important, and there is nothing else I can think of this kind. The second reason has to do with the quality of the people who are brought together here. I have been honored to meet some of the most amazing characters of not only mine but other generations, not only my country and my part of the world, but also other parts of the world. It would be impossible to name them all, but I will never forget sharing a panel with Mary Colvin, for instance, and then being with her at dinner at the very moment she was told that Tripoli had fallen, and she had to go and grab a cab to Edinburgh in order to try and get into a cargo plane and get to Tripoli in order to report. Months later we learned that she had died in Syria. But to see her, to see the moment in which she embraced Asuluddin Abu Leish, the Palestinian physician and author whose daughters were killed by an Israeli shell. They embraced each other before going onto a panel, and without saying a word, both of them broke into tears. That expresses the dimension of humanity that these people bring with them and multiply when they speak to the audiences gathered here in the Scottish borders. Like them, many others, Raya Shehadeh, Bettina Gappa, again, it would be impossible to name them all. But when you gather people of those qualities together, and you allow them to spend 2-3 days together, to dine together, to talk, to walk around, more often than not, what you have is brilliant minds and important new ideas emerging out of those encounters. Behind closed doors, at the same time, conflicting parties from different parts of the world gather together in order to try and solve their differences. So in a sense, what I see here is what I describe in the book about the coup in Chile. The fact that hope always comes back, and that in the end it is much more powerful than the violence of the powerful.